Okay, hi, my name's Daryl, and this little thing is called Coffee and No Breakfast. I record these little videos when I've had coffee and no breakfast. Okay? I'm going to solve the housing crisis in New Zealand. Probably this will work in Australia as well. The reason why the government hasn't been able to build any additional houses, not in real terms, they haven't really done anything for solving the housing crisis. It's because the services for city sections are too expensive. And this is going to be a solution to get people to live in the country a little bit more and not so much in cities. So I'll just run through it. What we need to do is allow where there have previously been villages and towns in the city and out in the countryside, small there's lots of small localities. The area that I know is the Manawatu because I drive through the Manawatu a bit and I live there a bit. Um, and I know people who live in these places. There's lots of little towns and villages that are very small. Halcombe is one of them. Tokomaru is another one. Shannon, that's a bit of a bigger town. It's got shops and a fish and chip shop and a dairy and a school or whatever. There's lots of places like this. Small localities that are on highways. They used to be fully independent towns or villages, but as we got better cars, we consolidated a lot of the services into the bigger towns and cities. So these places are now, because our cars are so good, they're easy commuting distances, 20-minute drive to Palmerston North or 15-minute drive to Levin, something like that. Just giving you an idea of the kinds of places I have in mind. You can identify these places because they tend to have a church, a pub, a town hall, or a primary school still there. Or that thing was there until recently. Maybe they just tore it down in the last 10 years because it got old, because no one had been in that building for a couple of decades. Okay? I know places like this. There's places in the South Island. There's lots of little localities that used to be towns and villages. Somewhere near Invercargill and somewhere near Dunedin, those sorts of places. I'm sure through Canterbury, there's a lot of places where there are intersections between main roads where there used to be little towns and villages. In some cases, there still are. So what I'm going to propose is that we build sections with no services, no electricity, no water supply. It's optional. It's optional, okay? These things are just optional. Optional sewage pipes, optional reticulated water, optional electricity. And we're going to sell quarter acre sections in small grids. Going to make small grids about 8 or 10 or 12 sections in a grid. The sections are classic 20 metres wide and 50 metres deep. We're going to build little villages that can't be in places where it floods. If you're a farmer, I'm granting you permission to find that if you've got that old town hall in the corner of your paddock, you put a compass in get a map, put a compass in there, set it to 700 metres, draw a circle, a 1.5 kilometre diameter circle. That's the new town. You can build city sections in that town. When you sell the sections, it'd be good if you sold them in pairs so that somebody can have a half acre. But if somebody can't afford that, you sell them a single section. When you get your section, you have to put a driveway down the side. Each pair of sections, if you have two sections making up a relatively a square, you have to put a driveway down the middle of it so that you can transport a prefabricated house on a truck and drop it on the back corner of your section. Also, when the sewage treatment company comes to bring your plastic sewage treatment plant to dig into the ground, they have to be able to back down the driveway and drop it in whatever the corner of your section is to put that sewage treatment septic tank system is what I'm saying. So we have these prefabricated separate septic tank systems. This is where your sewage is going to go. Okay, you're also going to need be able to bring in the big truck to drop off a giant rainwater barrel. I'm talking a barrel that's like 5.5 meters in diameter, a giant, thousands and thousands, 20,000, 40,000 litres or some large amount. All the water for your house. You're going to collect the water off the roof of your house. You're going to build mono-pitched roof houses, simple, small houses, going to have maximum size for the house. About 80 or 85 square metres. That's a 3-bedroom ordinary house. You can have a detached garage. I don't really want people to have garages. I want them to have carports. It's just a strange thing. You can enclose the carport, turn it into a garage later on. But the idea is that the houses are transportable houses. They're going to be in piles. They're not going to be built on concrete foundations. They're going to be made so that if your area has something wrong with it, it floods. You can just pick up the houses and move them somewhere else. You can move them to another village 5 kilometres down the road and have another go. The farmer comes in with his grader or bulldozer and he builds a grid of roads. He or she or they, okay, build a grid of roads. They just turn their bits of farmland. Now this farmland, it can be sheep or cattle paddocks. It can't be horticulture land. If this land has been used to grow broccoli and cauliflowers and tomatoes and stuff like that, you can't do it. Not allowed. That soil has to be left for food production in the future. That's where the people are going to work who live in these villages. They're going to work on those horticultural sections, making people's food. The people, they'll be able to commute. As I was saying, these are little villages near Levin and Palmerston North. You'll be able to commute to Levin and Palmerston North for your job, to go to work. These are 20, 25 minute, 15-minute commutes. You'll be able to drive there in a small electric car for environmental friendliness. If the place that you're going to isn't very far, you can ride a bike maybe. I don't care. It doesn't matter. The school is an important thing. So to find these places, you just go on Google Maps and search for school in the countryside. That's the place. You can draw your circle, your 700 metre radius circle around that. Start building sections right away. Sell them. We're going to cap the price of the sections to a certain amount. It's going to be $50,000 or $100,000 per section. If it's a really good section, $100,000. If it's not such a great section, then it's $50,000. It's cheap. There's no services, remember. So although it's going to be cheap to buy, you're going to have to buy other stuff. I'm going to show you the other stuff that you're going to have to buy. Look, I'll just go through it. I've prepared some web pages. These are pictures of mono-pitch roof houses, okay? Here's a mono-pitch carport. That's I don't know, that's a barbecue area or something. But you could park a car under that, right? But that shows you mono-pitch roof means that it only has one angle. See, it's got, you can, if that angle is set right, you can put solar panels on it. People are going to need electricity in these places. Here we go. This is a better example. A relatively small house with a single roof. The water rain runs down. It's going to go not into the ground, magically into the ground like it shows in this photo. It's going to go into rainwater barrels, giving you an idea of what you can think of. If you want to know, you can buy these houses. Look, you can just order one online from Bunnings. You can get it as a kit set. Now, when you arrange the house on the section, it has to be at the front of the section or at the back of the section, clearly in one half or the other half. All the stuff that you install has to be clearly in one half or in the other half. Maybe you can put the sewage treatment plant on the other half. I don't mind. I'm going to allow it. I'm going to allow it. This is just an idea and big thinking because nobody's thinking about this right. Here. Small, normal, modest house. Okay, I'm only allowing up to 80 square meters or something like that because these are meant to be houses for people who can't afford other houses. This is the Polytech in Petone. They make these houses. See, here's some being built. They're built and then transported. So there's the Polytech here. There's the main building of the Polytech. All the students here are learning construction. They're learning how to do put in the electrical wires and build the house. They make these transportable houses and then they drop them off on sections for people, or they take them somewhere and they're building something with them. I don't know what it is that they do, but they're houses. This is the kind of house I mean. See, you can put solar panels on that roof. If you arrange the house in the right way, you can just put the solar panels flat on the roof. If the house is around the other way, the solar panels have to be up on frames so they stand up, which is kind of annoying. Remember, there's no reticulated electricity to these sections. You're going to make your own power. Here's a map. Okay, I just went somewhere in the countryside. This is between somewhere around Napier and Dannyverk, and I searched for school. These are the kinds of places. See here, this is a place where there could be a school. This is very far from anywhere, but if you go over to the Manawatu, there's lots of these places over here. I'll just show you. Let's just search for school there. Look here, there's Sanson and Halcombe, and well, these places, Cheltenham and Bolton, they don't have schools, but there are places where there have been villages. Rongatia, there's a little village here. See, this is the kind of little village that I'm trying to create. This is a good example. It has a city square in the middle. That's classic. That's classic 100-year-old village layout. This is what we're building. Good. You've got an idea of that? Rainwater barrels. You're going to collect your own rainwater. They're going to go into barrels like this. Then you're going to pump that water back into your house. That's your primary water. If you run out of water in the summer, you'll have to ring it for a truck. Call a truck and the truck will bring you some water, and it will cost you a few $100s. So you're going to have to use low pressure hot water systems for your shower, and the shower is going to run on tanked natural gas, and your electricity in your house is going to come from solar panels. Okay, now this is a larger commercial grade. In the middle of the village, it's possible. So here's your $100,000 sections. The farmer organizes for there to be an actual sewage treatment plant, but this is too complicated. I don't like this idea. I'm moving on. These are the kinds of sewage treatment plants, that septic tanks that everybody's going to have. Each section's going to have one of these. What did I search to find this? Multi-chamber septic system. Okay, you're going to look up that and you're going to find out for yourself. Some of these require a sink where the water goes out, but you're going to use low pressure hot water, and so these are not going to be the kinds of houses where you're going to have half-hour showers at high pressure. That's not going to happen. You're going to have 5-minute showers. These are pragmatic houses for people starting out in life. What have we got? Low pressure hot water systems. That's good. And then grid tied solar batteries. Now, some of these places, there's definitely going to be already power lines, so people will be able to connect to the power lines. That's definitely the case. But running power infrastructure, it's very expensive to set up new power lines, okay? That can be done later. Now, I initially say we're going to have gravel. The roads are going to be gravel roads, and the driving speed on these gravel roads is going to be very low. The gravel roads will be replaced in time by paving, and the pavers are going to be made so that you can put the infrastructure into the ground. If you're going to do reticulated sewage and water later on, you're going to have to dig it up and put it back down. So if you use paving stone roads, then that will work better. Okay, I think that's enough. That's what I want to say. What I'm saying is that the reason why the government hasn't been able to build more housing is because there's tight controls over the services that have to be installed to the sections. Okay, and I'm saying we'd have to do it around the other way. You have to imagine yourself 80 years back in time before all the services were reticulated, and you have to build the village that way in the first place. But we're going to use these very modern things, these modern prefabricated sewage treatment plants, these modern solar and battery powered services, and these modern water huge water capture barrels. Okay, and so most of the time that will be enough. That's the idea. and we're going to build the villages where there used to be villages in the olden days, where there are still, in a lot of cases, a grid layout. There's still roads. Like Shannon has places where there's roads and there's not houses in some of those places. You can build more houses there. But the reason why those sections are expensive in Shannon is because it comes with the share of costs for all of the reticulated services. So you can never build cheap houses if you mandate that there has to be $200,000 worth of services to the section before you start. But I would argue that all of those services can be done separately, actually cheaper. That's my argument. I think that's the case. The people that are going to live in these places are going to be hardy, independent people. They're going to be people who like to do stuff for themselves. They're going to organise getting a house transported or built to their section, or they're going to do it themselves. They're a different kind of people. They're not the kind of people that work in office buildings and expect everything to be laid on for them. These are the people that are, they're the builders and farm workers. They work in industrial things. They know what they're doing. They have friends that are plumbers and electricians that are going to help them. That's what I'm saying. We're building something for other people. It's not... You can't treat everybody all the same and make them buy all of the stuff they don't need or don't want. A lot of people want to have a small house. A lot of people want to live on a 45 square metre house on a half acre of land. The sections are going to be that you can sell them in pairs. You can buy a pair of quarter acre sections to get a half acre. A half acre is a nice amount of land for people to live on. Just have their family out there in the country. They can have space they can put a workshop and run a business out of it or something like that. People, builders or plumbers, they can run their business out of that. That's what I'm trying to say. This is stuff for other people. It's another idea, another solution. You can do the thing that you're doing currently, and you can do this thing as well. That's what I'm trying to say. I think that's enough. I think that's it. Yep. Thanks for watching. Take care. See you in another video, perhaps.